Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I regret the things that I did, my brother. And when I did all of these things, I never thought that the woman that I thought that I loved, indeed I loved her. It was only after I had used some rituals on her, the charms that were given to me by my own uncle. I did not know that these charms that he had given me, they were going to turn me to become like a spiritual husband. So when I arrived here in South Africa, I then started dating this woman, a South African woman that I was working with. So this woman, at first, when I told her that I loved her with all of my heart, she told me that I was not a type and she did not love me. But then she came back to me and she said, okay, you know what we can do is that since you say that you love me and you want to taste me, how about at least you give me your salary, at least you give me your salary for about 3 months, then I can just sleep with you 3 times only. So this is what this woman did. So the first month I just removed money to pay for my rent, and I went and I bought a 12.5 at 2 liters and some cabbage and some salt. That is all that I ate throughout the month. I gave her all of my salary and she came to my house. And then she slept with me. We only had like 1 round and she refused. And she said that each and every month she would only give me only 1 round. The following month again, we did that same thing. And the third month again. And then she told me that she wanted more money on top of the money that I was making. So at the place where I am working, like we usually make some deals when we go out for some deliveries. So I started stealing a lot of stuff with my assistant since I am the main driver. So I was giving her all of that money. So I then saw that this woman, she was finishing me off because the money that I was giving her, it was just too much. Yet she was telling me that she does not love me, and whenever I would be sleeping with her, only that 1 round, no kissing, no touching, no what. I said, this woman, I'm going to use some charms on her. So I then returned back home and I spoke with my uncle, since my uncle is a herbalist, and I told my uncle that there was this woman whom I loved with all of my heart. I just wanted to give her a child so that she can also feel the pain that I was feeling. And my uncle then gave me some lucky bean, and my uncle then gave me some charms that I was supposed to rub on my manhood when I was about to sleep with her, and some charms. He said that I was supposed to prepare a cup of tea for her and give her that tea. So at our workplace, the first thing that we do in the morning when we arrive at work, we are all given a cup of tea. So one morning after I had returned back from Zim, I then told her that I was going to prepare a cup of tea for her. I then took those charms and I went to her and I gave her that cup of coffee, and she started drinking that coffee which had the charms. And throughout the day, she kept on texting me and telling me that she did not understand what was going on with her. And she kept on saying that down there she was really feeling wet and she wanted to sleep with me. So we ended up sleeping with each other at our workplace. And that was the first time that we slept together without using any protection. We did this in the bathroom after I had returned back from a delivery. That same evening, she ran away from her husband and she came and she slept at my place. So we kept on sleeping with each other and I was happy. But you know, the more that she became demanding, not like money wise, but she just wanted us to sleep with each other at all the times. And she was telling me that even at night she would be having these weird dreams. She would be sleeping with me. Then she told me that she had fallen pregnant. I said, whose baby is this? She said, this is your child, because she had been denying her husband sex for about a month, and we were really busy during that month when she fell pregnant. So the baby was born at that time. I was staying with her. But when I was now staying with her, we started to have a lot of problems. Like, she does not want to clean. She wants me to clean for her and stuff like that. So I then became bored, and I saw that, no, this one, I do not love her. So I then returned back to my uncle, and I said to my uncle that I wanted my uncle to give me some charms that were going to make this woman to stop loving me again. So my uncle then told me that I was supposed to go to the grave with him. We then went to the grave, and then I had this clay pot, and then that clay pot, my uncle told me to write her name and her surname. So I wrote her name and her surname, and I placed that piece of paper on top of that grave. And then my uncle told me to cover that piece of paper that I had written her name with that clay pot. So when we were doing that, it was like we were burying her in that grave, and she was going to stop loving me again. When I returned back to South Africa, indeed, I saw that this woman, she did not love me anymore, and we stopped dating each other. But I still take care of my daughter, because me and her, we had one child together, and I assist her. But now the problem that I am facing is that after my uncle passed away, that was when I started to have like weird dreams. This happened one day when I was returning back from work. So there was this other woman who was sitting right next to me. She was really attractive, and I only looked at her only once, and I said, no, this time around I just want to rest. I do not want to use any charms on these women. So I just decided to ignore her, and I continued doing what I was doing on my phone. When I returned back home, to my surprise, whenever I would think about that woman, then my manhood will just go erect. And this was like the first time being this close with that woman, even though she stays in the same community where I am staying. When I went to bed, my brother, I just slept maybe for about 30 minutes. Then I found myself, I was awoke, and I found myself outside. I had woken up, and I was walking. And when I looked around, I saw that I was not anywhere near the place where I am renting, but I was really close to that woman's house. And then I went into her yard. To my surprise, this woman, she opened the front door for me, and she took me straight to her bedroom. When we arrived in her bedroom, I even saw that her husband was sleeping in their bed. And this woman, like, she was a zombie. She was not speaking. She was not doing anything. And on the bed, there were two bodies, her body. So I then realized that the one who had opened up the front door for me, it was her spirit. So her spirit was just standing by the side of the bed as it watched me as I was making love to her spiritless body. And after I had finished doing that, I then woke up, and I found myself in my bed again, and there was semen all over. I had actually ejaculated. So this thing has been happening because my father this thing has been happening because my uncle passed away 5 years ago, and this thing has been happening over and over again. I even tried to go to church. So when I went to church, I even did that same thing, because there was this other woman who was busy with the praise and worship. She was singing the praise and worship. She was the one who was leading the praise and worship team. So that woman, she was also attractive. When I kept on looking at her, this woman then stopped singing, and she gave the mic to this other woman, and she went outside. So in the spirit, this woman, I followed her because I saw my spirit leaving my own body, but the people that were around me did not see me. I followed that woman until she went to the bathroom. So this woman, she was confused as to what had happened to her, because she saw that she was wet all over her private parts, as if she had been sleeping with a man. And I started to touch her, and then I slept with her. This woman, she was really confused when she saw that there were some sperms that were now flowing out of her private parts. And from that day, I stopped going to that church. But this thing has been happening to me, and I do not even know what am I supposed to do. The reason as to why I have come here on your platform is that I am tired. And even if I go, because we usually go to this other boxer store, and at that boxer store there is this other woman who is working at the delivery. She is the one who signs the receipts and the invoices. That woman, I sleep with her in the spirit each and every time when we go to deliver there, because we go there to deliver some meat. And this woman is always confused because she always notices that there will be some sperms that will be all over her private parts after I would have finished visiting her. So I do not know exactly how can I stop this thing. I do not want to continue doing these evil things that I am doing against all of these women, because I know that whenever I sleep with a woman doing this sex magic, I leave some poison, and this poison will affect their wombs. I even had a vision where I visited my daughter. She is still really young, because right now she's only 4 years old. I visited her and I did that same thing with her. I do not want to do this. No matter how hard I try to fight against this spirit, at night I'll find myself visiting a woman and sleeping with that woman, doing that sex magic, and I am tired. I do not want to do this anymore. Please help me out. I have visited some prophets who have told me that the thing that I have, it is called MUBOBOBO in Shona, meaning that a man that can sleep with any woman of his choice, but doing this in the spirit. I am tired. I do not want this spirit anymore. I was told that my uncle, he also had that spirit of MUBOBOBO, and I also want to warn the people out there to stop using these charms that can force another person to love you, because the moment that you use those charms, there is another spirit that will be following you. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear brother. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.